OK, let's take you to the Victoria-New South Wales border now, where Victorians stuck on the New South Wales side are about to be given the opportunity to return and quarantine at home. Rex and Trish Grady are Victorian residents who have been stranded in Albury in New South Wales. They join us now. Trish and Rex, good morning to you. Trish, how long have you been stranded there?
Michael, we've now been here for just on 1 month.
Right, and where had you been?
We actually had been up on the north coast. We'd been in Yamba for several weeks, and then we headed down here hoping to get across the border on about the 15th of August. We first applied for a permit at the end of July, so it's been about a 6-week turnaround for us, and we're not over yet, but we're very hopeful that we will be included in this first group of people allowed to cross the border.
So when do you, all going well, when do you find out whether you have been given the tick?
Well, it'll probably be sometime over the weekend, if not Monday. We need to put another application in tomorrow. They've changed the category, so we now have a different category to apply under. We then have to have a negative COVID test, which will be a 6th negative COVID test in the last 6 weeks. And then we wait on the health department. We have to prove our vaccination status. We're double dosed. We have to prove our vaccination status. We have to prove that we've been here for 4 weeks, which is easy to do because we've got a receipt to prove that. And then we just wait for the health department to give us the go-ahead. And hopefully they will do that in a fairly quick turnaround.
Let's hope so. Trish, I know Rex isn't wired up, he can't hear me, but can you ask him how he feels about the situation?
Yes, I shall. Michael would like to know how you feel about the situation.
A little frustrated, Michael. As Trish said, we've been applying for 4 weeks down here using exactly the criteria that the government has now come up with. We applied saying that we were fully vaccinated, that we had our negative COVID test, that we could cross the border and get home in 1 day, stopping for once for fuel, and we could self-isolate when we got home. We've done that 4 times in the last 4 weeks. Now the government has suddenly come up with exactly the same scheme as we've been applying under. To me, there's no logic or common sense in why it's taken them that long to get to that point. But then I suppose I shouldn't be too surprised. I have never heard the words common sense, logic and government used in one sentence without you put lack of in front of it. So while we're extremely happy to be going home, the process itself has just been incredibly frustrating. I
can sense the shared frustration. Trish, I almost hate to ask this question, but worst case scenario and you miss out on this latest get home lottery, what happens? I mean, how long can you stay there? Can you go elsewhere? What are the plans in that scenario?
Yeah, well, that is the worst case scenario, Michael, and I dread to think of that, but if that does happen, well, New South Wales is ending their regional lockdown probably tomorrow night, in which case we would then be able to drive further along the river for a change of scene. But please God, and that, reason prevails, and we are not faced in that situation. That would be, I've got over the early frustration and the early disappointment, and it was really disappointing initially to get rejections, and because the rejection process is quite brutal. And I've got to the stage, I suppose, where in the last 2 weeks I thought, OK, this is how it is. Just deal with it, Trish, and you will get home eventually. But now we can, now I'm full of hope. So I don't think I could stand for that hope to be dashed.
Oh, listen, all of us are crossing our fingers for both of you over the weekend. We might touch base to see how you go. Thank you so much, Trish, and thanks, Rex, as well, for taking the time to chat to us this morning on Breakfast.
Our pleasure. Thank you, Michael. Thank you.